Well, welcome back to Retired for Life, folks. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to go from the workshop here to a different workshop inside. I've got a couple of recipes that I want to share with you. One of the things we do to prepare for the Christmas season is get a bunch of ready meals put together so that things are pretty quick and easy that we can pull out, reheat, and you're ready to go. Because things do get busy, as you know, around the Christmas season. So let's get into the indoor shop and have a little bit of fun in the kitchen. Well, folks, let's have a look at the first recipe we're going to work on today, and that is going to be a stew. So this is a very simple stew done in the slow cooker. Easy to do. You get it set up, get it going, and then leave it. I like to leave it on low for 6 to 8 hours to get a good flavor out of it. So what we have got is we've got 2 cuts of meat here. I've got a round roast and a blade roast. Now the round roast is of course pretty lean, but the blade roast is not. Now don't be afraid of a little bit of fat, because that's where your flavor comes from, is from the fat. So these are going to get cut up into chunks and browned. And then we are going to be adding a nice stout beer. For this one, we've got Dragon Stout, and about half of that will go into the stew. Along with the stout, we've got a little bit of Montreal steak seasoning that we're going to use on the meat. And we've got some garlic, onions, a couple of pieces of celery. This gets removed later, but you want that in there for when it's cooking. Some nice carrots. And we are using a combination of flour and tapioca for the thickener. So I'm gonna dust the meat in that mixture and brown it. So let's get that underway and we'll see where we go from there. But I think before we go too far, we've got to get geared up and get something here to wet our whistle, find a use for the other half of this bottle. So let's get into our toque and apron and get to work. There we are. That's going to keep us a little tidier. Yeah, I got to save some. Okay, let's get these roasts cut up. So we'll start with the blade roast. Don't cut your pieces too small. You want something to sink your teeth into. And a good sharp knife is really necessary for this kind of stuff. Now remember, your meat is going to shrink down as you're cooking it. I like doing this at this time of year. I'll get a bunch of meals prepared and ready to go. That way, when the season is really in full swing, you can stop and enjoy it. You don't have to worry about your meals because your meals are pretty close to being ready. Now I'm going to take this and sprinkle it with my tapioca and flour mix. So this is 3-to-1 flour to tapioca. So we're going to use a nice virgin olive oil here. I love the flavor a good olive oil will add to your meal, especially beef. I don't really use much olive oil when doing pork because pork is a little more delicate of a flavor and I don't want the virgin olive oil competing with that flavor. Now while that's getting underway, we're going to get our other vegetables ready to go. Potatoes are easy, just have to wash them. But I need to prep the carrots and the onions and the garlic. So you're not trying to cook your beef here, but you do want to get some of that nice browning on the edges of your meat, because that does add to the flavor, and that will make for a nicer deglaze when we deglaze this pan. All right, we'll get a little more of those brown edges on there, and then we'll be ready. So carrots can be the slowest thing to cook in something like this. So we're gonna cut our carrots up into fairly big pieces, because they do shrink quite a lot, and we're gonna put them into the crock pot first. All right, there's our carrots. Next, we want to get the beef out of the pan, and we're going to deglaze that pan. All right, let's get back to our pan here. So we've got about 2 cloves of garlic and half an onion. And I just use regular cooking onions in there. And all I really want to do is get this to start to brown a little bit. Let's throw a little more extra virgin olive oil in there. Give it a little sprinkle of some kosher salt. So I don't want the onions going in the stew raw. That's why I'm doing this, the onions and garlic. Because I find if they're raw, it gives you a little bit of a harsher flavor from it. If you cook them down a bit, not much, just kind of softening them, it does mellow the flavor out. And I don't want something that's going to give my stew a harsh edge. That's looking really good there now. Okay, so this is where our beer comes in for deglazing our pan. So don't be afraid about using alcohol in your cooking like this. By the time this is done, there will be no alcohol left in this at all. The only thing it's doing is adding a really nice flavor to it. So that's got everything nice and loose in my pan. And I'm happy with that. That looks great. Okay, let's shut that down. Let that sit there for a minute and get back to our slow cooker pot. So next I'm going to add our brown beef in on top of the carrots. Then I'm going to give it a sprinkling of the steak seasoning. And next I'm going to add about a teaspoon of mace. Now this does add a really nice flavor. It's subtle but very nice flavor. Now we'll add our potatoes in on top. And get our celery sticks laid out there. Now they are going to be taken out once the stew is done. They're removed. Then we're going to take our pan of drippings and our beer and onions and garlic and pour that all over top. But that doesn't really give you quite enough broth, so we're going to make a little more. Now you can use just beef broth, but in this case I've got a 1/4 cup of Bravo that I'm going to put in here. And then I'm going to add water to make 1 full cup. And that I'll just gently pour over top of the whole thing. And once that's done, that's it. Put the lid on. We're going to set the slow cooker to high for the first 2 hours and then turn it down and let it go for all the rest of the day. And then you can have a bit for dinner and take the rest and put it in the freezer. So this is really simple. I have got a full bottle of Russian dressing here. Add that in. Now I want to get all of that, so I'm going to put a little bit of water in here and swoosh that around. Because I don't like leaving flavor behind. Now I got a package of Lipton onion soup mix. Gonna add that in. Then I've got a jar of apricot preserve. And I'm going to add about half of that in there for that sweetness that we're going to be looking for. Now we'll whisk this up. Looks pretty complicated so far, right? Now this goes right over top of our chicken. Just pour it all in there. Look at that. Well, folks, it looks like it's a pretty lazy day for some, but not for everybody. Gotta get back to work here. What are you doing? Hmm? What are you doing? Well, guys, it seems I managed to mess up the final bit of footage from that. So just to let you know, I put that chicken in for about, I would say it was about an hour and a half at 325 degrees. I covered it up with tin foil, and you got to keep in mind that there's a lot of sweetness in there, so you can't cook it at too high of a temperature or it will burn. And you should cover it up, or again, it might burn otherwise, especially on the top of it. And that turned out beautiful. It's such a simple dish, and that's 2 really quite simple dishes for you that you can put together. Put them aside, throw them in the freezer during the Christmas rush, that kind of thing. It's something you can pull out and you've got an easy meal. All you have to do is prepare a vegetable or a salad or something like that to go along with it. So I hope you guys have been enjoying these little cooking videos. Yes, I do other things besides work out in the shop and play out in the yard. And the kitchen is my next favorite place to play around in. So if you have been enjoying them, you like this kind of content, let me know, and I'd be happy to include a little more of it on my channel. I'm not sure what the YouTube algorithm is going to make of this. There might be almost nobody see it because they're probably not going to do too much with it. But anyway, I enjoy doing it. So if you've been liking these videos, please give them a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That would really help. I'd love to have you come along with us on our little adventures out here. So as always, stay safe out there, folks, and we'll see you out on the trails the next time.